Is blindness a barrier? No.
Is deafness a barrier? No.
Are mobility, learning, cognitive disabilities, speech impairments and others, or even a combination of them, barriers? No way. Lack of accessibility is.
Welcome to Web Accessibility for All.
Follow the blind. This journey starts now.
Remember that episode we called Demystifying Accessibility Audits? If you missed it, here's the gist. An accessibility audit is basically a checkup for your digital product. But here's the thing. What happens after that shiny audit lands in your inbox? Let's see.
All right, team. We've got the Accessibility Conformance Report. Let's review it together, okay? First impressions.
Wow. First impression? This thing is longer than my codebase.
All right, let's see page 1. Yeah, down here says. Partially supports WCAG 2.1 AA. What does partially mean? Like, we're halfway accessible? Is that like being half vegetarian?
It means we're in trouble. Look at this list of critical issues. Missing alt text, no keyboard navigation, pop-ups not accessible to screen readers.
Sorry, Frank, you said pop-ups? You mean those fancy modals we spent $10,000 designing? Are they completely useless?
Not completely useless. If you don't mind excluding, blind users and anyone who doesn't use a mouse.
So, they're partially accessible. Like our whole website. Great branding.
Hello, my friend. Welcome to another episode of Web Accessibility for All. I am your host, Ariel, and today we are diving into a topic that often leaves teams scratching their heads. If you've ever received something called Accessibility Conformance Report and thought,
what do I do with this?
Or,
why does this even exist?
This episode is for you. We'll explain what an Accessibility Conformance Report is, who it's for, and how it fits into the broad accessibility process. Ready to make sense of it all? Let's go!
What is an Accessibility Conformance Report?
At its core, an Accessibility Conformance Report, or ACR, is a formal document summarizing the accessibility compliance of a digital product, be it a website, app, or software. Sounds easy, right? Not so fast. It's based on standards like the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, or Section 508 in the US. It provides an overview of how well the product supports accessibility standards, highlights areas of non-compliance, and offers a roadmap for improvement.
Purpose of an ACR.
A great ACR needs to do a few key things. First, it should be accurate, which means backing up every claim with evidence from the evaluation. Second, it should be clear, using plain, simple language that anyone can understand, especially non-technical audiences. Third, it should be complete, covering all the relevant criteria and including any extra notes or remarks. Finally, it should be transparent, meaning it clearly explains any limitations, exceptions, or planned fixes.
Who is the ACR for?
One of the most important aspects of an ACR is understanding its audience. The ACR is primarily intended for
Procurement teams like clients or buyers.
They use ACRs to evaluate a product's accessibility before deciding to buy or adopt it. This is especially common for government agencies and private companies with accessibility requirements, like the US Section 508.
Internal stakeholders.
They use ACRs to check how ready a product is in terms of accessibility and plan fixes where needed.
Product owners and project managers.
They use the report to track progress and spot issues.
Development teams.
They use it to prioritize fixes and align with compliance goals.
Regulators and legal authorities.
They use ACRs to confirm compliance with accessibility laws and avoid penalties. Legal teams also use them when handling accessibility-related lawsuits.
Who's responsible for delivering an ACR?
It depends. If the client, regulator, or procurement team ask for it, it's usually up to the product owner or vendor to deliver. They might handle it themselves or hire an external accessibility specialist or auditor. If a consultant or auditing team is brought in to do the evaluation, they'll often create the ACR as part of their job. For smaller projects, sometimes the in-house development team will take care of it, especially if they did the accessibility testing themselves.
How does an ACR fit into the accessibility process?
An ACR isn't created in isolation. It's the result of a comprehensive accessibility audit or testing cycle. Here's how it fits into the workflow.
1. Accessibility audit.
A detailed review of the product's compliance with accessibility standards is conducted. This includes manual testing, automated scans, and user testing with assistive technologies. For more insights on this, listen to the episode Demystifying Accessibility Audits. I will add a link to it in the description.
2. Issue documentation.
Findings are recorded in a detailed report, often on a spreadsheet listing specific issues, their severity, the WCAG success criteria they failed, and potential solutions.
3. ACR creation.
The ACR condenses this information into a summary for decision makers. It provides an overall compliance status and prioritized recommendations.
What does an ACR include?
A well-structured ACR typically contains the following sections:
1. Executive summary.
a high-level overview of the product accessibility status. Example:
This product partially supports WCAG 2.1 AA compliance, with issues primarily in navigation and form accessibility.
2. Scope and methodology.
a description of what was tested, how it was tested, and any limitations. For example, it might specify that testing was done on desktop browsers, but not mobile platforms.
3. Summary of findings.
Key issues grouped by priority level, such as critical issues like missing alt text or inaccessible forms, moderate issues like color contrast problems or missing focus indicators, minor issues like lack of skip links and unoptimized ARIA rules.
4. Detailed findings.
A breakdown of specific issues, including WCAG success criteria not met, descriptions of the issues and their user impact, recommendations for remediation, and any other important information.
5. Remediation plan.
Suggested next steps for fixing issues, often grouped into high, medium, and low priority.
6. Compliance statement.
A clear summary of whether the product supports, partially supports, or does not support WCAG standards.
Workflow for ACR creation.
1. Plan. Define the scope of testing and the accessibility standards to evaluate against. 2. Audit or test. Conduct a comprehensive review combining manual and automated methods. 3. Analyze. Map test results to WCAG success criteria or other standards. 4. Report. Complete the ACR summarizing conformance levels, supporting remarks, and any known limitations. 5. Review. Ensure the ACR is clear, accurate, and accessible before delivering it.
How to use an ACR as a team.
Once you have an ACR, here's how different team members can leverage it. Stakeholders make informed decisions about compliance, risks, and timeline. Managers allocate resources and track progress. Developers dive into the detailed findings to plan fixes. QA teams test remediations and validate improvements.
Conclusion: ACRs as a tool for teamwork and leadership.
An accessibility conformance report is not just a document. It's a tool that brings your team together around a shared goal, creating a product that works for everyone. ACRs are tools for teamwork and leadership. When developers, QA testers, managers, and stakeholders collaborate effectively, guided by clear leadership, the ACR becomes a roadmap for success, not just a list of problems. So, as you look at your next ACR, remember, it's not just about meeting standards. It's about uniting your team to build something meaningful, a digital experience that welcomes and empowers every user. That's it for today's episode of Web Accessibility for All. If you are ready to lead your team towards a stronger, more inclusive future, start with your ACR. It's not just a report. It's the start of something bigger. If you found this episode helpful, share it with your team. And let's build a web that truly is for everyone. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us today. Subscribe for a new challenge next week. And don't be shy. Leave us a review or ask your accessibility questions online. See you next week for another episode of Web Accessibility for All.